National Football League. Today, the San Francisco 49ers against the Los Angeles Rams.
A sellout crowd at Anaheim Stadium, and the first one since a year ago when these two teams played.
Great games, great moments on NBC.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome to NFL Live. Len Berman in New York, along with Paul McGuire, Gail Sierens, and Frank DeFord.
Good football team who plays good offense and good defense.
The good offense is reflected in Bob Chandler, whom you saw seconds ago, and Cliff Branch, whom you see now, and in Raymond Chester, the tight end. So Plunkett is using his weapons, but tonight, his team must stop another great offensive unit because Jim Zorn, the southpaw quarterback, reminds one of Fran Tarkenton in his prime. And he can hit his targets like Sam McCullum right there, like the great Steve Largent. He knows how to make that team go. What a matchup tonight.
Monday night fan. I remember all the big games, all the trick plays. It's been here for 20 years, and here it's gonna stay. I gotta get ready, make everything right, 'cause Monday night football's coming on tonight. Hey, are you a big fan? Hey, do you want to party? We got Frank and Al and Dan ready to get this thing started. They got the teams on the field and they turned up the lights, and all my rowdy friends are here for Monday night football, that is. When those red-hot teams play under the lights, those X's and O's just seem to ignite. Now I know some guys that are ready to blitz, and some big old dudes will be taking their licks. I bet they're cheering like we are all over the land, jumping up and down like the fans in the stands. Nobody does a football like an ABC. Why, it's the only game for people like me. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party? Hey, hey, this is Rockin' Randall Hank, ready to get the good time started. You gotta hit 'em, gotta dodge 'em, get the play called right. All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night. Yes, everybody's a fan. Hey, this is the biggest party, man. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They really got it started. Week after week, it's the time that is right. All my rowdy friends are here on Monday night.
This week did not start off on a happy note for Walter Payton and the Chicago Bears. I know that all the fans in Chicago are very familiar with the controversy, but some of you may not have seen this angle on the play. I believe it was a first down for the Bears against Atlanta. Watch Payton, just short of the goal, and the ball goes down, and he goes back to the huddle, when suddenly the official says it belongs to the Atlanta Falcons. Now watch Payton's reaction. He suddenly realizes the ball's gone over, and that's an automatic ejection as soon as he touches the official. In slow motion, watch how Payton handles the ball. There is very little question from this angle that he thought the play was finished, and he simply set it down, and Roland Lawrence pounced on it. And then when he grabs the official's arm, it is an automatic ejection, and he is kicked out of the game. Did you ever see a play like that? They were ahead by 3 points at the time. So not only do they lose a possible touchdown, they lose the football, they lose 15 yards, and they've got their best player kicked out for the game. Now, Irv Cross has been in Detroit, and Irv, you have visited Walter Payton and checked on him. How's he feeling about this situation right now?
Well, Brent, you're right. You know, I spent a lot of time with Walter last night, and I asked him about the controversial play, and simply asked him, Walter, did you fumble the ball? And this is his response.
Irv, I didn't fumble. And the films that I've seen and indicate that I didn't.
Touchdown that tied it with no time left on the clock. Murray's kick fielded by Williams at the 5. Williams breaks out of the pack. Dave Williams to the 30. Touchdown Chicago. They win it on the kickoff after overtime.
It's his first touchdown this year.
Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. Hard to go back to the game after that news flash, which in duty bound we had to take. The Atlanta Falcons, led by a quarterback who has come into his own, Steve Bartkowski, playing with a flak jacket, damaged ribs, you'd never believe it. Atlanta's first possession. Steve Bartkowski to Alfred Jackson, touchdown, a 29-yard play, 7-0 Atlanta. It became 10-0. Then Atlanta again, still the first quarter. Watch this, that little throw to Lynn Kane. You're not going to believe this run. That tackler avoided. Now, watch this evidence of balance. Hit by 2. Hand touches ground, hand touches ground. It does it for the 3rd time. Then bulling his way through that tackler, in for the score. And so it was 17-0 in the second quarter. San Francisco trying to strike back with Joey Montana, quarterback out of Notre Dame. Montana finding Charlie Young all alone, in for the touchdown, 17-7. The halftime score was 24-10 Atlanta in the 3rd quarter. Joey Montana, San Francisco threatening on the Falcons 6. Throws over the middle. The ball picked off by number 27, Tom Pridemore. He gets a sheath of blockers. Moves to the right sideline. Nobody going to get a chance to touch him. Makes you good to see a kid like Pridemore perform this way. He's a member of the West Virginia State Legislature. And after that 101-yard touchdown return on the intercept, he can get any bill he wants passed in that state legislature. What a return by Tom Pridemore. And so the score went to 31-10. But Bartkowski wasn't done yet. Watch this one. One of his favorite people to throw to, number 84, Alfred Jenkins. Now look, he can get up. Nobody touched him, and he does exactly that. Down at the 1, that sets up a field goal. Atlanta won it 34-17.
Today, we'll review a week distinguished by outstanding individual performers such as Atlanta's Alfred Jenkins and Buffalo's Joe Cribbs, who both produced 3 touchdown receptions. And we'll offer our usual blend of highlights, features, analysis, and off-the-wall commentary with the help of special guest Allie Sherman.
Be a football player, get out there and turn up. Get hungry for that yardage. See that taillight and you get up. You get up there. That shows a lack of football feel if you do that.
This is pro football yesterday and today. This is NFL Review and Preview.
Well, last week, the Patriots spent yet another Sunday in the dentist chair, this time in Oakland, where the Raiders yanked out a 27-17 victory.
3 weeks ago, in their continuing quest for the goal line, the Oakland Raiders handed the quarterbacking reins to Mark Wilson. While Wilson did not light up the scoreboard, at least he put the Raiders on the scoreboard. Last week against the Patriots, Wilson looked to ring up some big numbers in a hurry. This 80-yard touchdown to Cliff Branch on the game's first play was nullified by a penalty. Thus reprieved, the Patriots, with the help of this touchdown by Don Hasselbeck, number 80, rebounded to take a 17-13 fourth-quarter lead. The Raiders had not scored a touchdown in the second half since the third game of the season. But Wilson finally broke the spell when he hit Branch for the go-ahead score with 8 minutes remaining. Perhaps the magic of the silver and black is coming back. When Willie Jones, number 90, scored the clinching touchdown on a fumble recovery, the Raiders had a 27-17 win, their second in 3 weeks. The Patriots, on the other hand, are battling the Baltimore Colts for last place in the AFC East.
Last week at Pittsburgh, the 49ers show that they certainly are for real.
Their intensity does not yield the same results as it did in seasons past, but the Pittsburgh Steelers' ability to strike quickly remains intact. In 1 minute 46 seconds of the third period, the Steelers converted 2 San Francisco turnovers into touchdowns. One a 50-yard interception return by Mel Blount, number 47. Following a second interception, a Terry Bradshaw to Jim Smith connection put Pittsburgh up by 14-10, a lead they held into the fourth period. But it was 6 Pittsburgh turnovers that did the Steelers in. A touchdown return by cornerback Eric Wright, number 21, was called back. But one of 3 San Francisco thefts set up the 49ers' final drive, culminated by Walt Easley's 1-yard score. The 17-14 win was the Niners' 6th straight and ensured them sole possession of first place in the NFC West.
Don Landry is 6 yards away from his 6th Super Bowl. And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. It's a madhouse at Candlestick.
Always believed that Joe was throwing that ball away and just living for the next play.
I was actually on the 10-yard line at the other end of the field.
49ers in one of the best drives in NFL history. Scored with under a minute to go, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27, and now it's on to the Super Bowl for the Niners.
It's time for one play left.
Hard throw. Look at that! What a play!
In an unbelievable moment.
Hall of Fame football play.
Tight ends. Barber and Hill pitches back to Dickerson. A lone setback, and he cuts back. Got some good yardage. Dickerson can run. Eric Dickerson still going. Dickerson will go. Bobby Jackson was the last man.
First in Ohio, TV5 Eyewitness News with Ted Henry, Pat Menarson, and the Eyewitness News team.
Hello, Cleveland. I'm Ted Henry, and the strike is on. The National Football League has called a strike that will begin tomorrow. Gib Shanley has more on this, and Gib, is it going to be a long one?
I don't know, Ted. I didn't think they'd do it in the first place, so I can't tell how long it's going to go. For the first time in the 63-year history of the NFL, a strike will stop play. The Players Association's Executive Committee decided at a meeting today that work stoppage will begin immediately following tonight's game between New York and Green Bay. Browns player rep Doug Deacon was cornered earlier today after his players' 45-minute meeting.
We have made a counter proposal. We have come off our percentage of the gross. That we feel that we have taken a big step, but there's been no action on their part. And thus, in turn, it looks as if today, in our 2 o'clock meeting, we're going to wait for the phone call, but it does not look very optimistic for next week.
That there has to be a door that somebody can enter and close and sit down and have an agreement. Because right now, the biggest problem is all you're looking at is egos. But what has to prevail is common sense.
Well said.
Thank you, Don Criqui. Len Berman with the NFL 83 team in New York. A couple of quick headlines first off. John Elway, tough day with a fumble and interception, but Denver's tied with Pittsburgh nonetheless. The NFL leading scorer from last year, Marcus Allen, already off to a big start with 2 touchdowns this year. But the biggest offensive performer today thus far, Lynn Dickey, the Green Bay quarterback, 20 of 22 passing, including 18 straight at one point, which is too short of Ken Anderson's record, and 4 touchdown passes for the Green Bay quarterback. Now, the big game people are watching in many quarters to see how the rookie does. It's 7-7 at halftime. Denver at Pittsburgh. Of course, all eyes are on the Stanford super rookie, John Elway on the left, his backup, Steve DeBerg, on the right. Elway, his second possession. He is hit by Jack Lambert of the steel curtain, recovered by Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh could not turn it into a score. Now, on the long bomb, on the next series, Elway, long and deep, intercepted by Donnie Shell, but Pittsburgh could not score on that one. Finally, Denver got some offense. Sammy Winder doing it, going 18 yards, then going in from a couple of yards out. That gave Denver the first score of the day. Winder doing the damage. But Pittsburgh came back on the strength of a Franco Harris 5-yard touchdown run. His 94th career touchdown, 4th all time. There at halftime, 7-7, Denver and Pittsburgh.
Raul Alegre, 2 field goals. Frank Kush has yet to experience victory in the National Football League, and he watched on as Steve Grogan threw a 73-yard touchdown pass to Stephen Starring. Stephen Starring, remember, the 3rd-round draft choice out of McNeese State, and the Patriots, you might recall, finished last in the National Football League last year in passing. A little bit later in the second quarter, once again, it was Steve Grogan. This time, a 50-yard touchdown pass to Stanley Morgan. Watch how all alone Stanley Morgan is. He's usually double covered. Maybe the secondary was thinking about Stephen Starling. Mike Pagel came back and made it a little tighter, a 17-yard touchdown pass to Bernard Henry. They are all tied up now, 13-13. Detroit and Tampa Bay, it is 5-0 Lions, and of course the Bucs, the only team to go through the preseason without a loss. This is the Budweiser NFL Report, brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Hi again, everybody. Bob Costas in New York, and now the Patriots have defeated the Jets twice this year, 28-21 at the Meadowlands and 30-20 in Foxborough. Let's take a look at some of the highlights, lowlights, if you happen to be a Jet fan.
It started out as if Raymond Berry and the owner of the ball club, William Sullivan, would do all their smiling before the game because it was the Jets who were in control early. Ken O'Brien, in place of Pat Ryan, who was shaken up, goes into the end zone to Rocky Cleaver. That followed a 53-yard run from scrimmage by Freeman McNeil to set it up, and it was 10-0 in favor of the Jets. But in the second half, the Patriots rally. Here's that Craig James run. It cut the lead to 20-16 in the third quarter. About 8 minutes to go in the game, the Patriots take the lead for good. Tony Eason, a 5-yard pass to Stephen Starring in the end zone. That makes it 23-20. Later, Tony Collins scores. He is out of the doghouse now with Ron Meyer out and Raymond Berry in. From 4 yards out, Collins' touchdown made it 30-20, and that was the final score in the ball game. It is worth noting that Luke Prestridge had an 82-yard punt in that game for the Patriots. A week ago against Miami, he had an 89-yarder. Dallas is now 6-3. They beat Indianapolis by a score of 22-3 in Dallas. Danny White got the nod from Tom Landry as the starting quarterback, replacing Gary Hogeboom. Early in the ball game, the Colts setting up for a 50-yard field goal attempt. Ron Stark fumbles, runs for his life, and then his pass is intercepted by Bill Bates, and that scoring threat is ended. Danny White threw 2 touchdown passes in the first half for Dallas. This is the first of them. 38 yards to Tony Hill. For Hill, his first touchdown of the 1984 season. Later, White went 5 yards to Doug Cosby. They led 13-0 at halftime. Rafael Septien kicked 3 field goals in the second half for Dallas. They win it 22-3, and Tony Dorsett gained better than 100 yards for the first time since December of 1983, covering 11 games. Chicago beats Minnesota. The score there is 16-7. Walter Payton passes the 1,000-yard mark for the season. There's Mike Ditka, the head coach of the Bears, who are now 6-3. Jim McMahon, second quarter, with a touchdown pass to Dennis McKinnon. It covers 18 yards and makes it 13-0 Chicago. But the Bears' pass rush was the story of the day. Archie Manning is sacked here by Todd Bell. Chicago had a club record 10 sacks for the afternoon as they beat Minnesota 16-7. By the way, Peyton ties Franco Harris. This is his 8th 1,000-yard season. That's an NFL record.
As Ken Anderson started at quarterback. Anderson moved the club, but Larry Kennebrew put it in the end zone. He put it in 4 times. This one gave the Bengals the lead, 14-7. Here was the turning point, though. Third quarter, 4th and 7. Oilers trying to keep their drive alive, but Warren Moon is sacked by a Ross Browner. Then the Bengals began to take control. Here's a Larry Kennebrew touchdown, 1 of 4 on the day, as we said. A pass from Ken Anderson, 31-13. The Bengals go to 3-6. Houston falls to 0-9.
White backpedals underneath his crossbar, fires the right side of the ball, tipped in the air by Hampton, picked up by Dent, spins to the end zone, touchdown!
The Cowboys were shut out for the first time in 15 years. It was the worst loss in franchise history. In a 3-game stretch in November, the Bears' defense scored more points than it gave up. The fridge soared to new heights, and with McMahon sidelined, Walter Payton carried them, rushing for 100 yards in a record 9 straight games. Chicago was 12-0 and headed for a Monday night showdown.
William the Refrigerator Perry takes charge when the unbeaten Chicago Bears tangle with Dan Marino and the rejuvenated Miami Dolphins on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football.
You'll love it. Tomorrow.
For 3rd down and 6. Duper, Moore, and Clayton. Out of the way. Into the arms of Clayton. Going right for the Dolphins tonight. Batted away at the line of scrimmage. Up goes the big hand of Dan Hampton. It was over Mike Richardson